Hello guys, welcome to another video. Singularity, Rimuru x Arifureta, by Aestics. Chapter 4. Verbergen and Rejection. Hajime, Yu, and the Halia continued walking in the woods. They didn't want to deal with the trouble that comes from some other people finding them, so they were kindly advised to tone down their presence, which they did. The forest really was a sea of trees. Some trees are small, some reach far above, as the dense greenery became darker and lighter on different times and places. After a few hours, Hajime stopped, along with Cam. Cam looked nervous and anxious while Hajime looked composed as he analyzed his surroundings. It can't be, we were actually discovered, Cam? No, looks like it was pure bad luck on our part that they found us. You didn't get bothered whatsoever. As long as Hajime was here, nothing else mattered to her. Sigh, an annoyed sigh escaped his lips as multiple tiger-like beastmen emerged from the bushes. Not to mention, this presence is, of all people, why them? Cam. Don't move, a loud, deep voice, like a roar, is heard behind them. The rabbitmen all tensed up, while Hajime and Yu are still calm. Why is there a human here, overgrown cat? It was definitely not normal to see beastmen and humans together in the sea of trees. The tiger beastman was looking incredulously at Cam, as if he were some kind of race traitor. Cold sweat poured down Cam's forehead as he tried to think up some kind of excuse. However, the tiger man caught sight of Shea before he could get very far. A white-haired rabbit girl? You must be the Halia tribe in the reports. You're a disgrace to all beastmen. You tricked your fellow beastmen for years, hiding that despicable demon girl, and now you're even bringing humans into our midst. Traitors. I won't listen to any of your excuses. You're all going to be executed here, everyone. Cha, overgrown cat. Bang. Just before he could finish giving the order to charge, Hajime's gun went off. A red streak scraped past the tiger man's cheek, carving a hole right through the tree behind him, vanishing deep into the sea of trees. A trail of blood ran down the tiger man's cheek as he stood frozen in place. Everyone stiffened suddenly at this new attack that had come so fast that no one even had time to react. Despite his casual tone, Hajime's words carried a surprising amount of weight. That was due to the intimidation skill that he was using, which made his opponents feel a physical pressure from his words. I can fire off attacks like that multiple times a second. I know exactly where each and every one of you are. And hell, if I wanted to, I could kill you all in under a minute. Hajime. Whwa. There wasn't even a chant, overgrown cat. The tiger man faltered. Not only was this human capable of firing off an unknown attack of immense power, he could apparently fire it off multiple times a second without even chanting. Plus, to top it off, he even supposedly knew where they all were. As if to prove his point, Hajime unsheathed Schlag and pointed it into the distance. Right where the tiger man's right-hand man was waiting in ambush. Hajime could tell he was trembling behind the fog. If you order your men to attack, I won't show any mercy. Until our contract is complete, these guys' lives are under my protection. Don't think even a single one of your men will go home alive if you try and hurt them, Hajime. Hajime poured bloodlust into his words on top of his intimidation. The threatening aura oozing from his every pore caused the tiger man to break out in a cold sweat. He desperately fought down the instinctive urge to howl in fear. You've got to be kidding me, and no human can do something like this. That guy's some kinda monster, overgrown cat. But if you're willing to leave quietly, I won't chase you. If you're not my enemy, then I don't need to kill you. Now make your choice. Are you going to quietly go home, or die for the sake of your foolish pride, Hajime? Can I ask you something first? The tiger man hoarsely managed to croak out those words. Hajime flicked his head, indicating that it was okay for him to continue. What are you after, overgrown cat? A simple question. We just want to visit the sacred tree, Uralt, Hajime. You want to go to the grand tree, but why? What for, overgrown cat? The tiger man had been certain this human had come to enslave the beastmen or the like, so he hadn't expected that response. While they did hold the area as sacred, it wasn't of much practical importance, which was why he was so confused. It was actually more of a tourist attraction than an idol of worship. Because the true entrance to one of the labyrinths might be there. We're on a journey to conquer all of the 7 great labyrinths. And we've employed the Halia tribe to guide us there, Hajime. True entrance? What do you mean? This forest itself is considered one of the 7 great labyrinths. A natural labyrinth where anyone other than a beastman will get lost forever once they step foot inside. Overgrown cat. Yeah, but there's a problem with that logic, Hajime. What? Overgrown cat? The tiger man asked suspiciously, unsure of where Hajime's confidence came from. The monsters here are way too weak for this to be the true labyrinth, Hajime. Way too weak? Overgrown cat? Yeah. The monsters I encountered in the last labyrinth were all on a whole different level. At least, the ones in the depths of the Great Orcus Labyrinth were all like that. And besides, Hajime. Besides, overgrown cat. The labyrinths are trials that the liberators left behind. If any old beast man can make it all the way through the forest, then it doesn't really make for much of a trial. That's why I don't think the forest itself is the labyrinth, Hajime. The tiger man was utterly bewildered by Hajime's explanation because what he was saying made absolutely no sense to him. Whether it was that the monsters were too weak, or the talk about the depths of the Great Orcus Labyrinth, or the liberators, or trials and whatnot. None of it was something he'd ever heard of. If you don't mean any harm to my country or its people, then I don't mind letting you visit the Grand Tree. I have no interest in wasting my men's lives, either. The others surrounding Hajime all seemed shaken. It was completely unprecedented to allow an interloping human even further into their territory. However, a mere captain of the guard like me doesn't have the authority to allow that. Allow me contact my superiors. It's possible our elders might have some information on that truant trance you seek. If you really mean no harm to those that aren't your enemy, then surely you'll be willing to wait here while we send a messenger, overgrown cat. Just make sure they explain everything like you just told me, Hajime. Not too long after, a figure appeared in the woods. It was an old elf. The glow in his eyes shows centuries of experience and wisdom in regards to life. He was also accompanied by many other elves. I am Ulfuric Hypeist. I have the honor of representing Vergerhan as one of its elders. I've heard everything about you. Before we begin, there is one thing I wish to ask you. Where did you come to learn? Of the liberators, Ulfuric? The elf, Ulfuric, said as he seized Hajime and you up in an attempt to gouge their characters. Hold out your hand. This is the ring of Oscar Orcus, Hajime. Hajime said as he took a unique ring from his treasure Tova. This crest. I see. It is hard to believe, but it seems you have truly reached the resting place of Orcus. He paused before continuing. Very well. Then by my name, I shall allow it. Come to Verbergen, Ulfuric. Hole, up. Hajime, we're only here for the sacred tree, Uralt. I don't care about Verbergen. If there's no problems, then we'll be heading straight there, Hajime. Ulfuric turned around and looked at Hajime shocked, but nevertheless replied. I'm afraid that's not possible. Ulfuric, excuse me, Hajime? The fog around the grand tree is so thick that even beastmen lose their bearings near it. It waxes and wanes in cycles, and only when the fog is thinnest can we safely approach. I'm afraid the next cycle isn't for 10 days. I had thought all of the beastmen were aware of that fact, but... Ulfuric. Ulfuric gave Hajime a puzzled stare before turning to look at Cam. After a moment spent absorbing this new piece of information, Hajime too turned to look at Cam. Faced with two expectant stares, Cam replied with, "Ah," as if he'd only just now remembered it. A vein pulsed on Hajime's forehead. Cam? Hajime, I'm not quite sure what to say. Well, there was an awful lot going on, so it's only natural that I'd forget. Yeah, I've only been there once myself when I was a small child, and I didn't really pay attention to the cycles or anything back then, Cam. He kept trying to make excuses, but Hajime and Yu's relentless gazes wouldn't let him escape. Finally, he snapped and turned on his brethren. Hey, Shea. The rest of you too. Why didn't you say something? You all knew about the fog cycles too, didn't you, Cam? What? Why are you blaming us all of a sudden, Dad? You looked so confident that I was sure you knew that this was the right time in the cycle. This is all your fault, Shea. Exactly, we all thought it was a little strange too, but you were so confident about getting us there that we thought maybe we were the ones who'd gotten the dates wrong. Rabbit Extra 1. Yeah, you sounded so sure, Chief. Rabbit Extra 2. Cam's misguided anger made Shea lash back at him in turn, and his tribe started averting their eyes, shifting all the blame onto him. Why you guys? I thought we were family. Doesn't that mean we share both the good times and the bad? Hajime Dono, if you must punish me, please punish us collectively, Cam. Coward, Dad, I can't believe you'd try and pull something like that. Just because you're scared of getting punished doesn't mean you should drag us down with you, Shea. Leave us out of this, Chief. Rabbit Extra 3, fools, didn't you see how merciless Hajime Dono was to his enemies? I'll die if I have to face that punishment alone, Cam. I can't believe you still have the gall to call yourself our chief, Shea. Those were the people that were renowned for being the kindest among the beastmen, but at that moment they were busy trying to shift the blame onto each other. Where'd all that supposed kindness go? Well, I guess they're Shea's family, Hajime. The whole lot of them were worthless rabbits. You, Hajime. Okay. You stepped forward, then raised one of her hands. The Hala's expressions all stiffened simultaneously. Please wait, you-san. If you have to punish someone, punish Dad, Shea. Ha ha ha, we'll be together forever. Cam, get the hell away from me, Rabbit Extra 4. You Dono, please leave us out of this and just discipline the chief, Rabbit Extra 5. I didn't do it, the chief's the one who's at fault, Rabbit Extra 6. You only smiled thinly in response, then muttered a single phrase. Storm gust. You, worthless rabbits. The sky suddenly started raining bunny ears. Their screams could be heard throughout the entire forest. Though it was their own people who were being tortured, Ulfuric and the others didn't seem the slightest bit angry. In fact, they were looking up at the sky in awe. Judging by their expressions, they too knew how pathetic the Halia were. So, will it really take 10 days for the fog to thin, Hajime? Yes. There is nothing we can do about that on our part. This is our home. Verbergen. Ulfuric. Ulfuric said as they got out of the fog. What lied before them was a beautiful scenery, the epitome of natural beauty and the ultimate of aesthetics. It's so pretty. You couldn't help but deliver a praise. Right now, they are currently in a sort of meeting room. A place for the elders, where Hajime told Ulfuric everything about the liberators and the purpose of the dungeons, as well as the true nature of this world's gods. I see. So the gods have merely been toying with this world, Ulfuric. You don't seem too surprised. This world has not been kind to us beastmen. It has never been thus, Ulfuric. You said you know about the liberators, Hajime? Not very much, I'm afraid. It was part of the ancient wisdom passed down from time immemorial amongst the elders here. The 7 great labyrinths were created by the liberators. Do not oppose any who bear a crest from the labyrinths. Should you find that person to your liking, guide them wherever they wish to go. The ring you possess is one of those crests. Though I have led you here without confrontation. Not all beastmen know of these tenets. Not only that. There are some who would not follow them, even if they did know. As if on cue, the door to the room went off to the other side with a boom, as a bear-like beastman barged in without permission. His expression was as angry as Hulk, and his build were certainly large. The fact that none of the guards stopped him means that he is likely one of the elders. Ulfuric, what were you thinking, bringing a human and the cursed child here, Elder Bear? I simply abided by our ancient traditions. You also hold the position of elder, so surely you realize my reasons for doing this, Ulfuric. So this pipsqueak of a human had one of the crests. That he's too strong for us to fight. What a load of bull. How about I test him, here and now, Elder Bear? As he said that, he dashed at Hajime too fast for a regular person to see, as he attempted to punch him. But alas, Hajime, while eyes closed, simply tilted his head to the right as he grabbed the bear's arm, and sent his own punch to the massive frame's stomach, sending him outside the room in a violent boom. Everyone was, to say the least, shocked. That what's-his-fucking-name bear was one of the strongest fighters in Verbergen, and he got his ass whooped by a kid not even 18 years old. Surely it dealt damage to their pride. The other elders, who were just behind that what's-his-fucking-name bear, also witnessed the whole thing. So, should I assume you people back there plan to stand against me, as well, Hajime? MMH. That is indeed the crest of Orcus, and we've already seen what you are capable of. I'm willing to acknowledge him as more than qualified, Elder Fox. I'm not. The traditions say we should guide him if we like him, right? Well, I don't like him. I'm against leading him to the Grand Tree. And don't think the Halia will be able to help you, either. They're wanted criminals who harbored the cursed child. The Council of Elders has already decided to execute them, Elder Tiger. At this, the Halia all grimaced as they welcomed the future that waited ahead them. Shea, meanwhile, understandably cannot accept this. You can't. Please show mercy to my family, at least, please, Shea. Don't, Shea. We have all prepared ourselves for this, Cam. But, Shea, None of this is your fault. We would never want to throw away our family to live. We Halia are always together, no matter the situation. Cam. What are you going to do now? Test your luck and see if you can make it there on your own, Elder Tiger. Are you stupid or what? Hajime, what did you say, Elder Tiger? I don't give a damn what your circumstances are. Saying you're going to execute them means you're getting in my way. I think I've already shown you. What happens to people who gets in my way, Hajime? The place went quiet. The elders, the guards, and most of all the Halia, they never thought that Hajime would go this far for the promise they made. Are you truly serious, Ulfuric? Of course, Hajime. Even if we were to offer you guidance in their stead, Ulfuric? Don't make me keep repeating myself. The Halia are the ones guiding me, Hajime. Why are you so insistent on having them dead? Anyone could take you to the Grand Tree, Ulfuric. Annoyed at Ulfuric, Hajime glanced back at Shea. He'd noticed her gaze a while back, so when he turned around their eyes met. Shea could feel her heartbeat quicken. She averted her gaze instantly, but the pounding of her heart didn't slow. Because I made a promise. I promised to protect them in return for guiding me, Hajime. A promise? In that case, couldn't you consider it already fulfilled? You protected them not only from the monsters in the gorge, but also the Imperial soldiers, correct? All that remains is to receive your reward. No? What difference does it make if we provide that reward or them, Ulfuric? There's a difference. I promised I'd guarantee their safety until they took me where I wanted to go. Just because a better-looking deal showed up halfway doesn't mean I can just throw that promise away, Hajime. Hajime stopped halfway and looked over at you. She too was gazing at him, and smiled slightly when their eyes met. He returned her smile and shrugged his shoulders before turning back to Ulfuric and continuing coolly. It just wouldn't be cool to break my promise, you know, Hajime? Seeing that he had no intention of backing down, Ulfuric breathed a long sigh. The other elders all looked at each other, hoping someone might have a solution. Silence filled the room for a few moments before Ulfuric brought out one last suggestion with an exhausted look on his face. Then let's just say they're your slaves. According to the laws of Verbergen, any who leave the Sea of Trees and do not return, or those who are captured as slaves, are considered dead. While we may stand a chance against humans in this fog-enshrouded forest, outside of it their magic would tear us apart. Hence why those who get captured are considered dead, and chasing after them is prohibited to prevent there from being more victims. If they're already dead, we can hardly execute them, Ulfuric. Ulfuric. You can't, Elder Tiger. Sophism was all it was, nothing more. The other elders, of course, weren't happy about that proposal. The Elder Tiger had even gone so far as to protest. Before Ulfuric could say some rational thoughts into the other elders, the entire roof of their meeting room was ripped apart, attracted into a single point akin to a black hole, as a voice echoes loud amidst the expressions of confusion and fear. Ayu, bro, you will not believe what I just saw. I saw a 2-meter-tall muscled man-woman getting chased by some kangaroo-llama hybrid with the tail of a cow. Bros got chased by that thing in the mountains for kilometers straight and it was so, It was Rimuru said, floating in the sky. Dude, Hajime. Hajime said with an exasperated expression while Yu just had a mixture look of surprise and embarrassment at Rimuru's overly casual attitude after intruding and destroying a meeting of Verbergen's elders and a weeb accompanied by a lowly vampire. Right. Sorry about that. Oh well, as you can see, Rimuru. After quickly reading and dismissing the mood, Rimuru said, before pulling his hand like he was pulling something from the sky. As he did so, a massive, transparent bubble glass combo sphere containing a bunch of rabbitmen floating inside it appeared. It was like a big bubble floating in the sky, with dozens of rabbits encased within it, floating in defiance to gravity. I successfully rescued the rabbits, and yeah, I got some news to you about the Grand Tree, so we better go, Rimuru. Alright. Okay, rabbits. We'll just guide you guys somewhere safe, and we'll part ways. Hajime. Huh? Wait. Shea. Let's go. Hajime, as the figures of Rimuru and the bubble sphere, as well as Hajime, Yu, and the other rabbits disappeared, the previous meeting room broke out in an uproar. Their dialogues? Who knows? After leaving the dumbstruck elders in Verbergen. Wait, what? Yu and Hajime. It's true. You see, after saving those guys, I went directly into that giant tree and tried to enter, but well, as it turns out, there's some requirements. When I went there were some requirements to enter the dungeon. Knowing that we can't go in it for now, I traced Hajime's energy frequencies and teleported myself to him without knowing there was a meeting. I could have bulldozed my way through the labyrinth, but it was likely that it wasn't a good idea. I won't go there without Hajime and you too. If I just broke through for us, they won't gain the ancient magic in there since the magic circle from Orcus reads their memories in order to verify whether they are worthy. I told them the requirements: 4 markers of strength, the power of restoration, a beacon woven from bonds. Only one who possesses all of these will have the path to a new trial open to them. I, Raphael, deciphered its innate structure, and it goes like this. The 4 markers of strength mean we first have to conquer 4 labyrinths and have their crests. The second requirement, meanwhile, is some kind of restorative magic gained from one of the other labyrinths. The third means we need to have beastmen guide us here. So, what do we do now, Rimuru? You and Hajime took a while to process all this information and voice out their respective opinions. They share the common trait of having an annoyed face, however. We were currently discussing in a separate location away from the others. Naturally, the Halia were beyond grateful to know that their previously captured families are returned, even if some are dead and killed by that point of time. That's why we stayed away from the loud reunion going on in a part of the forest. Damn. So we can't start on this one just yet. What a pain in the ass. Guess we'll just have to do the others first, Hajime. Yeah. After talking for a while longer, we finally returned back to the camp to see that the Halia are lined neatly with their heads bowed. We thank you, Hajime Dono, you Dono, and Rimuru Dono from the bottom of our hearts. It was loud, way too loud. I wouldn't be surprised if their voice actually traversed the entire forest. Right. So, as it turns out, we'll have to clear 3 other labyrinths before we get back to this one. Our promise to protect you guys until you led us here has now been fulfilled. Where you are now, even without Verbergen's protection, you should have no trouble living safely in this forest. And so, this is where we part, Hajime. The place we are currently in is encased in a barrier that spans over 3 kilometers in radius. It was a force field, curtain, created by me that distorts and isolates space, so no conventional trouble would pass through. Of course, the rabbitmen themselves can freely pass through the barrier, and others can also pass with their permission. As we were about to go, a certain rabbit stopped us. Wait for me. I have something to tell you, Shea. "Da fuck," all 3 of us said. "Please let me accompany you on your journey, please, Shea." "No, Hajime." Just like that. Shea. Considering the atmosphere, Shea must have expected him to at least ponder her request a bit before replying. She opened her eyes wide in surprise at his sudden response. Hajime just looked down at her with an expression that all but screamed, "Where the hell did that come from?" Shock gave way to anger. "You could at least take my request a little more seriously," she probably, obviously, thought. "Why, you're so cruel, Hajime-san. I was being so serious, and you said no just like that, Shea. Didn't look all that serious to me. Besides, what are you going to do about Cam and the others? You can't expect us to take them all with us, Hajime." "And no, that's not it, I meant just me. I asked you before too, remember? Back then you said me not wanting to burden my family wasn't a good enough reason to take me, but now, Shea." "But now what?" Hajime, Shea fidgeted awkwardly. Her fingers trembled and a faint blush crept up her cheeks. How sly. She truly was a master of her craft. Unfortunately for her, Hajime just looked at her suspiciously. Next to him, Yu was glaring angrily at her, while I was just eating French fries behind them. I was the tallest of the group, so I had no problem seeing what was going on even with Hajime and Yu in front of me. But now, I'm asking to go with you because I want to, so, Shea. Oh, boy. I think I know where this is going. Huh? Why do you want to come with us? You won't even be a burden to your family anymore with how strong you actually are. Hell, you could probably take on any kind of enemy that shows up on the surface, Hajime. I know, but, Shea, hurry up, stupid rabbit, you. I want to stay with you, Hajime-san, because I like you, Shea. You what, Hajime, crap, I bit my tongue, Shea. Peeved. Ha 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 ha. I couldn't contain my laughter. What a bizarre this is. Is she a masochist? Wait, shut up, sensei. Now, this doesn't make any sense. Where'd I even trigger any of your flags? I mean, even I know I've been pretty mean to you this whole time. Hold on, don't tell me you're into that. Hajime pointed out the question I had in mind. How dare you call me a pervert? I'm nothing like that. And if even you've realized you're being mean, don't you think you could stand to be a little nicer to me, Shea? I don't see why I have to be nice to you in the first place. Do you even really like me? Are you sure it's not just some heat of the moment thing, Hajime? It seemed Hajime still couldn't believe she really liked him, hence his assumption that the suspension bridge effect had come into play. And considering how he'd treated her until now, it was hardly surprising. However, it looked like Shea was pretty unhappy that he was doubting her feelings. Despite that, partway through her tirade, even Shea began questioning her own feelings. She tilted her head in confusion, and while Hajime desperately wanted to whip out Donner, he held himself back. Nothing she'd said had been wrong, after all. Either way, no matter what your feelings are, I don't plan on taking you with us, Hajime. No way. Look, all that was just a joke, okay? I really like you, so please take me with you, Shea. Look here, even if your feelings are real, I already have you. Actually, I'm surprised you confessed all that when she's standing here in front of you. Come to think of it, the really scary thing about you isn't that body strengthening ability, but how shamelessly bold you are. Is your heart made of Azantium or something, Hajime? Excuse me, my heart isn't that hard. I knew this would happen. But that's okay. I already knew I couldn't deal with you through normal means, Hajime-san. Shea snickered triumphantly, which made Hajime look at her suspiciously. I already planned for all this. That's why I put my life on the line. Now, you sensei, if you would be so kind, Shea. Huh? You? Hajime blinked at this sudden turn in the conversation. Annoyed, you nevertheless faithfully turned to look at Hajime. Her expression made it look like she just swallowed 100 cockroaches, and she very reluctantly opened her mouth. Wait, it couldn't be. No way, right? I must be overthinking. Hajime, sensei, let's take her with us. You. I can't help but mutter. What's going on here? Wait, what's going on here? You obviously don't like the idea, but wait, is this what the bet was about, Hajime? It turns out that, on some unknown place and unknown time, Shea challenged you to a fight. The condition was that if Shea could at least hit you once in a full 3 hours, she wins. And the victory reward was that you would help persuade Hajime and me into bringing her along. Because of her insane body strengthening ability that puts her at 60% of Hajime's normal strength, she really managed to do so. I was careless. You shrugged her shoulders despondently, and I, along with Hajime, who'd finally guessed what happened between them, couldn't help but be amazed. I'm still against it. I spoke. Are you for real, Shea? Shea was now anxious and scared. Just because I listened to Yu's request earlier didn't mean I'd listen to any of her request, you know? She must have thought that I, just like Hajime, had a soft spot for you and didn't even consider a scenario where I didn't consider Yu's request. I won't pamper them like that, mind you. Now only Hajime's decision remains, and after what seemed like hours of a stare down. Still no, Hajime, huh? Shea? You said she would help persuade me, not anything like force me to, so I still choose a no, Hajime. The rejection was a massive blow as Shea's mind went numb, or at least that was what it looked like. She must have thought Hajime was going to listen to anything you asked him to do, so she was pretty sure she was on the team already. In any case, she wanted in because she liked Hajime, while Hajime already had you. How shameless of her that I couldn't help but be amused. She was basically attempting open home wrecking. Or was she planning on having Hajime accept both her and you as lovers as harem? Sure enough, how shameless. Hajime is from Japan, so polygamy is something he hadn't even considered because of the values he developed from said place. She was once again thinking one-sidedly, so I would have refused on bringing her along either way. Her family behind her did feel sorry for her, but they knew she was just too weak to even actually be useful. Instead, they delivered their condolences as Shea was so shocked, she didn't even notice we had already left. Drops of tears fell from Shea's eyes, as her expression was an indescribable one. She stood there, completely still and unmoving until sunset. At some point, her family had to intervene or Shea would get cold from the night. How merciless, lol. I spoke amidst the mountain of burning monster corpses. How? It was the best choice. Hajime, You said that she did agree on bringing her along, genuinely, but decided against it anyways as our goal was too dangerous. She developed some kind of care for the poor bunny that she even considered the long-term outcomes and consequences of tagging her along. Shea has a strong will. There's no doubt that without a proper rejection, she will chase us to the ends of the world. That's also why I think she'll be fine in a few days. To that, we said nothing as we headed back into the Ricin Gorge, determined to conquer its hidden labyrinth.